magical friends. Welcome, willkommen to your weekly horoscope and taroscope with me, Natalie, spelled N-A-T-A-L-E-E. In this video, we're going to open up the astrology and collective energy for the week ahead using remote viewing, Western astrological interpretation, and the tarot. So this is it, you guys. This is the week that everything changes. There we go. This is the week that everything changes in a huge way for many reasons. This is the month that everything really changes over, but this is the week that every astrologer looking at it goes like, oh my God, like what is that? It's so high planet. It's like a hurricane, an astrological cosmic cocktail of craziness. On Monday, the 13th, we have the moon entering the sign of Sagittarius. That moon in Sag is going to square over to Saturn now in Pisces. We're just starting to say Saturn in Pisces, not Saturn in Aquarius. That's so funny. So the moon squaring off to Saturn. This is going to kick off other things on Tuesday, but as far as Monday is concerned, I'm calling it last chance. This is the last little moment you have to put your best foot forward. This is the last chance that you have. Okay, so the moon in Sagittarius. So if you're conscious, if you're using this energy consciously, you're going to use it to broaden your perspective, to incorporate new ideas and new details, new intel and new information to help fill in your perspective of what's happening or of what's going on or of something. It's just like learning about this piece of world history is helping you understand the world and humanity as a whole. Sagittarius and Gemini energy are supposed to contribute to that. If you're unconscious, if you're unconsciously channeling this energy and you're not using it in a conscious, deliberate fashion, the worst that this can go and trigger in people's subconscious minds is grandiosity. Okay, grandiose energy that is just far beyond, you can't reach them. You can't reach someone when they're grandiose, when they're, so that's like the lowest it can go, or the worst that it can get with this moon in Sag. Now, squaring to Saturn in Pisces, that's the check. So that's the check to make sure you don't go grandiose, to make sure you don't overpromise, to make sure you don't overcommit. And these are some darker Sagittarian themes. The square is saying, if you're using this consciously, take the clear lessons seriously. The circumstances of Monday are going to show you where and how to take certain things more seriously, or where you need to show up and be more of an authoritative, like leader, or where you just need to apply more maturity in some way, shape, or form. So, that's like getting the ticket on the windshield and saying, okay, I'm going to pay the ticket. Fine, you got me, and paying the ticket, that's using it consciously. You're taking the literal sign from universe, pay the ticket, do the thing, whatever you're doing. Unconsciously though, people could take this energy and instead be very resentful or bitter. Resentful and or bitter. It's like taking the ticket in the windshield and being resentful and bitter that you got caught, instead of taking the lesson, blaming the government, blaming the guy or the girl that wrote out the ticket for you, blaming them. And this is the grandiosity. That's grandiose. Blaming, you know what I'm saying? It's like, well, you bought this vehicle, you bought this car, you drive in this municipality, and you are playing their game. You're in this township, you abide by their rules, and you're mad that you broke the rule and didn't get away with it. But you feel justified that you shouldn't have to pay this ticket. And that's, that's, see where the grandiosity can kind of come in. So this can happen on a very petty level, or it can happen on a very big level, depending on like where this is playing out in your guys' charts. I already went through this week in great detail for all 12 zodiac signs. So if you want that personalized interpretation, including the tarot, that's in the Knights tier and above on the patreon.com/TheFirstArteagan. So that's Monday. Not much on Monday. It's really the rest of the week that's crazy. Tuesday, the 14th of March already, 2023. 14th, I'm calling it accept it, and in parentheticals, really, like really, really accept it. And that's because we have the quarter moon in Sagittarius, and it's a waning, losing, and light quarter moon. That's really saying let it go. But here's the crazy part. So life changes this week, like in a big way, and you're going to have people that are like, as an example, part of New Earth, and people that are stuck in the medieval ages. And the only difference is going to be their perspective. The enlightenment has to happen from within. It's an illumined from within event, okay? So this is like where the crack in perception, the doors of perception, this is where the crack happens. Because you're going to look at the same thing and see different things. So the quarter moon, let it go. And I have a quote for you. Guess who it is? It is a capital mistake to theorize before one has data. Insensibly, one begins to twist facts to suit theories instead of theories to suit facts. That should be very familiar. You should all know who that is. It's Sherlock Holmes, of course. So this is that. This is where and how and why the breakages are happening, because people are, instead of taking the lessons and letting the truth or evidence or facts or physical proof, instead of allowing that to change their minds, they're going grandiose. They're going in delusion land, and they're going to be mad, and they're going to project that anger towards you or whoever represents maturity or responsibility, whatever it is that they're like really facing. The cognitive dissonance is not going to let everyone just ride off into the sunset this week. So okay, so it's a quarter moon. Their circumstances are pushing this up. Now, if you look over here, you can see this triangle forming just like this, and then there's two going over here. That's the moon in Sagittarius opposing Mars in Gemini, and together they are T-squaring, boom, 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 Mercury, Sun, Neptune, all in Pisces. So this is where these breakages and these cracks and perception are happening, for better or for worse. Okay, I'm giving you guys the conscious way that this can be manifesting and the unconscious way that it can be manifesting, so that you guys can really spot out how it's happening in your life and in the lives of those around you. So Mars squares Neptune on this day. Let's just pick that apart. First and foremost, Mars squares Neptune. This is the third and final square, okay? Since I think the first square was like the beginning to the middle of October of 2022. And then the second square, the retrograde square, was like the middle to the end of November of 2022. And this week is the third and final square. So this is an unusually long transit of Mars going through Gemini. What does the evidence point to so you can disabuse yourself of an illusion? You were believing that something was worse than it really was, but there's no evidence to support that it's bad. You were trying to force something that you wanted to believe to make it real, but reality isn't going with your flow. What was that? Where were our perceptions being changed one way or another in October, beginning to the middle of October, and then again the middle to the end of November? This is the last one. And this is it. This is like, I would say, like, really look at the evidence, look at the facts, look at the details. Mars has been digging this up through Gemini, giving us some more information. So that's why I have that quote for you, that Sherlock Holmes quote. I thought Enola Holmes was a TV show, and I watched it on, I was doing laundry, so I was like pausing it and playing it. And I don't know how I thought like a 2-hour movie was like a pilot episode. I thought, oh, this is a long pilot episode. How cool. I love long pilot episodes. But that was not the case. Anyway, so I have to finish the second one. Anyway, so Let me read that one more time. It is a capital mistake to theorize before one has data. I mean, where are your powers of deduction? Okay? You need data first before you make your theory. People, this Mars square Neptune, people are getting paranoid and suspicious and projecting suspicions when they don't have anything to back that up. This is also very passive aggressive. This is wily. This is getting insults under the radar. This is sabotaging people behind their back. This is like all kinds of like the sneaky people living in the gray area and then skewing things to better their position, whatever, all that crazy waste of, honestly, I think it's like such a waste of time. Anyway, insensibly, one begins to twist facts to suit the theories instead of theories to suit facts. So this T-square moment, this Mars square Neptune is giving you like this last big clue or this last big like, or it's having you act on it. Like, what have you been learning? What's been changing in your mind, or what have you been changing your mind about since, is it like August, since Mars has been in Gemini? Because that's part of this too. You're going to feel a lot better. You're going to be feeling so much better when you let the truth change you. And that's the whole point that I'm getting to. So the Mars square Neptune, what does the evidence point to so that you can disabuse yourself of some illusion? Sometimes when I like really good writing, like on a show or something, I'll memorize a line and I memorize that. That's not my writing. I can't take credit. I can't take credit for that. That's from The Crown. It's the guy, one of the bad guys, who's like, let me disabuse you of that illusion. I thought it was so great. Anyway, so yeah, so let it just accept it. So for some people, they've been really resisting something since last summer, and it could really sting. Like if you've been working this very unconsciously, like people could get very burned because they keep trying to insist on something when all the truth and the evidence points to something else entirely. And so this could be when the cognitive dissonance breaks, that was trying to protect them from feeling pain, but depending on what this is and how far someone went with it, like then it could really, someone's life, people's lives can totally just shatter because it's the perception, it's the illusion that you're forced out of. And that could be traumatic. Like if there are any psychotic mental breaks this week, have compassion, because it's painful and it's terrifying. Or if you're going through an ego death, it feels like you're dying, okay? So, but then on the other hand, this can be staring your demons down. And every occultist has had to do that. Everyone practicing self-mastery has had to do that. We've all done that. We've all had to have our ego deaths, stare down our demons, and like in a quite literal way in our cases, in some of our cases. But this can also be bursting some fears, some paranoias, some self-limiting beliefs, okay? So it could be worked positively, and then it can also be a big break of someone's cognitive dissonance. Let's talk about the T-square. So the T-square, that moon is so triggering, moon opposing Mars, ouch. T-squaring the Neptunian, Piscean triple conjunction. This is going to push belief to action. So if someone believes something grandiose and paranoid, they're going to act from places of fear and insecurity, fear of loss, fear of lack mentality, victim mentality. If they're codependent, they're going to act in a desperate, needy, codependent way. And all of their actions are going to be motivated by that energy. And people will be able to intuit that. Even though Mercury is super not strong right now, about to go into the Cazimi moment, everything else in Pisces is online, including a recently entered Saturn in Pisces. So this is like almost a recalibration of our like intuitive compass a little bit, but you need to like accept the facts, the evidence, the proof of your life. Just talking about you and your life, like you have to let that work on you. You have to let that change you. Otherwise, you're going to run into a lot of pain. That's all. The cognitive dissonance, When that breaks, it's painful. It's very painful, okay? I survived it. I've survived mine, but I think everyone needs to have those happen in your life. But keep breathing. You're going to get through it. Okay. So, but here's the thing. This is why it's very strange, and be very careful, because this, whatever someone's grandiose beliefs are, they're going to be pushed to action. But likewise, also for the positive. So if you are using this energy consciously, you are trusting the changes. You are trusting the new information that's brought to light. You are trusting the evidentiary support of a new belief system. Maybe something new and different makes sense to you, but it's very foreign and unusual or unfamiliar, but the facts are lining up, or the evidence is lining up. This would be something sort of indisputable for you, where maybe you love meat and you're like, meat, I love meat, you know, but then you accidentally have you stay the night at someone's house and all they have are fruit and vegetables, and then you just spend a whole day eating fruit and vegetables, and you're like, oh my God, I have so much energy. I like this. I like the way this feels to have all this energy. And then you're like, well, I mean, that's quite literally what it, not that literally, but that's what it was for me. Is very noticeable. When I first went like pescatarian when I was maybe 14 or 15, I definitely noticed a difference. Noticed a difference in my energy. But that's like the thing that you can't, there's something that's pointing, that's really, the pressure's on it. And you just don't want to be distrusting at this time of the changes, because there are some big changes happening. Because if you are unconscious on this T-square energy, you reacting from those lower vibrations of like fear and ego, it's you resisting the truth changing you. It's you resisting that's what it looks like when you resist evolution. You resist the lessons, or maybe it's too much for someone and their brain breaks, and it's like, sometimes it's a breakdown to break through, sometimes it's just a breakdown and it doesn't help anyone. That's why there's certain, even like acting programs and like self-help things, and you know, these like gurus, spiritual gurus. I would never call myself a guru ever, by the way. It's just a red flag to me. Like some of them that just break someone down and get them super raw and vulnerable, and then they don't go anywhere with it. It doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't do anything. And all you have is like this person who's a puddle in front of the class. And I'm like, well, what was, are you gonna pick that thought up? Like, where was that going? Where were you going with that? You know? So it's not as, so this could also be needless suffering. It could be masochistic. It could be, because the thing with Pisces energy, so you can see this as early as Tuesday with Mars squaring Neptune. The belief will push you to action. And for the people that are acting very desperately, or that are like really resisting the changes or distrusting, they're basically going to self-sabotage in some way, shape, or form. It's worse than just applying bad strategy. This is a little bit more like subconscious. So like all of our subconsciouses are going to be like showing, and it's going to be really obvious. And so, you know, it's like, well, if you don't have anything to hide, then you don't have anything to worry about. You know, like that's kind of, how many millions of hours of just me talking on YouTube are there? You know, I feel safe on the internet because I am honest. I feel safe on the internet and talking so much on the internet because I actually really love the internet. I love connecting with you guys. I think you guys are freaking the coolest people on the planet, and I love uploading my consciousness every so often to the interwebs. Like I absolutely love that. So I do like decentralization and everything, but I also trust myself, and I trust my good heart that like it's fine, you know? So, you know, where was I going with that? Oh yeah, so the T-square, about not being able to trust yourself or trust others, like you're just gonna see some people acting kind of crazy or wild, or they may be extra clingy or desperate or deceptive. Here's the thing, when people lie to you, that's a red flag, not just because they're lying to you, but it means because of what it also means is that they're lying to themselves. If someone lies to you, it means they cannot be honest with themselves about something. That's a bigger red flag than lying to you, is when someone lies to themselves. And this is why it's so important to pay attention to this week, because the cognitive dissonance in people will crack and break, and you need to see it. You need to see someone that should have been a supporter crumbling and rooting against you. You've got to see that to protect yourself, to put up a stronger boundary, or to, I don't know, like change whatever you need to change. That's the thing, is that you really, then it's on you. It is your responsibility. It's your responsibility. So, you know, some people cannot accept it. On Tuesday, it's all going to be all about accepting, for real, letting something go, trusting the changes, having faith and belief, and they're going to resist it, and they're going to kick and scream, they're going to fight. Other people are going to trust the new or the different, or let the truth change things, or let the data speak for itself and say, okay, we're going to go into this direction because this is what the data is saying, or this is what the proof is, or this is what the thing is. So let's do that. Okay, great. All right, let's move on. Oh, I forgot okay. Mother of pearl. Wednesday. I'm so sorry, I've been forgetting to do this. Okay, Wednesday. Wednesday, it's called The Beat Goes On. The Beat Goes On. So Tuesday was a little bit of a dust up. There was some, you know, with that T-square, the last Mars square Neptune, and you've been feeling the Mars square Neptune leading up to Tuesday. That's just when it really finishes its most exactness. I'm calling Wednesday The Beat Goes On because life does move on, indeed. The moon enters Capricorn, Mars leaves shadow, and the sun conjuncts Neptune. Moon in Capricorn, no indulgences. Circumstances need the grown-up version of you. So don't expect coddling. Don't expect coddling for the next couple of days when the moon's in Capricorn. You just be responsible. Don't hope for coddling, hope for respect. Okay, and get that by showing up mature to the situation. Now, the sun conjuncting Neptune. If you're conscious, you're going to see the biggest picture. You're going to see the whole vision. It's clear. Now, if you're not as conscious, if you're more unconscious channeling this, people are going to be more self-sorry. And this is a big thing about Tuesday. Martyr complex, messianic complexes. You can get someone that is needlessly suffering and martyring themselves, and then you have someone on the other side saying, I never asked you to sacrifice yourself for me. I never asked you to take on all this burden. I never asked you to hurt yourself, let alone for me. I never asked you to make that sacrifice. I never asked you to do all of this stuff. I never asked you to do any of that. So all of your suffering, you just like walked into. So why are you blaming me? Why are you, what? You know, it's like that. Exactly, with the sun conjoining Neptune. Now, that's the most like unconscious part of it, is if someone's like super victim. Okay, you can be victimized without being a victim, and that's a very important distinction for Wednesday and for this entire week, okay? Because this could absolutely show victims, people being victimized, and refugees, like people suffering, all of that. But it's like the identity, because you can have someone that takes on the identity of a victim who's never been victimized, okay? It's not about being victimized or not, or how severely or not severely. It's about how you identify yourself. That makes all the difference. So sun conjoining Neptune can be, I feel sorry for myself. I feel sorry for myself. I have low energy because I feel so sorry for myself. Or it could turn you very spiritual, very, very, don't go like delusional spiritual. That's the messianic complex. I mean, like real spirituality, which is much more empowering and much more calming, makes you feel more secure, have more faith in yourself and your life. This can also be very creative. So the higher points of this Pisces stuff, creativity, spirituality, and empathy, compassion. It can also be psychic ability. It could also be spirit mediumship, communicating with the deceased. Oh, dreams. Your dream life, kind of astral travel, but just like your dreams and your dream life and what you're doing, what you're getting up to in your dream world. Sometimes it's a dream because you had a weird sandwich and it's like a biological influenced dream. Sometimes it's astral travel to another planet type of a dream. Sometimes it is your subconscious communicating with you in a dream to tell you what you're still stressed about or what you're really excited about, or the truth of something. And it's really helpful for you to know the status of your subconscious and certain things. So Wednesday, the beat goes on, you can see the bigger picture and you'll feel very inspired. You'll feel ready to get down to business. Mars leaves shadow that day. We are free of having to go back and redo how we get it done in the Gemini area of life. Check out every zodiac sign's March is like over 40 minutes. It's like a very big, intense month for everybody. So, when Mars leaves shadow, it's like, hooray, hallelujah. We know how we are going to move forward. It's going to be different. It's going to be different than what we thought we were moving forward on in August of last year, or how we were going to move forward in August of last year. It's different. And it's because of the 3 squares. We had to change our position based on new information. If you did that, you'll be fine. If you try to push things through from October to January that were not authentic or were still part of the old way of thinking, they have fallen apart from January to now, to the end of March. If you took October to January to just sit back and rethink things and let everything kind of percolate so that you can back up and go down a different path or do things in a different way. And if you initiated that from January until now, you did great. You're doing great. And it's almost over. It's almost over. So Mars leaves its shadow. We're finally covering new ground, new territory that we haven't covered before. So the beat goes on. It moves on. You took the lesson, you didn't take the lesson. It moves on. So, yeah, Wednesday could be very inspiring because it could be like the beat goes on in a very positive way. Thursday, the 16th, I'm calling it new grooves. Okay, so here's the thing. This whole week is just one thing. Every day is just one thing after another. And it just really picks up momentum by like the end of the week. And here we are. So Thursday, new grooves, Mercury conjuncts Neptune. Together they square Mars in Gemini. And then we have Venus at the very end of Aries squaring over to Pluto, who's about to change signs. Not for long, but about to change signs. And then the same day on Thursday, Venus will move into Taurus. So already we're starting to like make some big changes because of what we think differently about, because of our different perspective, different ways we want to use our action-oriented energy. So Mercury conjuncting Neptune consciously, that could be more telepathic. That could be very creative. That could be it could also be very mute, where Mercury Neptune could get the inspiration. It might just feel like a feeling before you're able to get more out of it. So just let it be whatever it's going to be. It can also be very compassionate thinking and speaking, but be careful because people will take advantage of that. And that brings me to the unconscious part, is guilting, shame, fear, paranoia, making someone feel guilty. Okay, so that's not good. Venus squaring Pluto consciously, you're answering the challenge of upping your values, your value system changing in a meaningful way. You're answering the call, answering the challenge. Something hurts, something feels like intense, but you're changing the groove. You're making a new groove. You're building a new neuronal pathway. So it could feel very powerful. It could also just be very intense. Like that could just also be very intense. Like just powerful feelings. So whatever, it doesn't have to be negative. It never has to be like negative, but it's a value shift. It's definitely something striking you and making you, kind of sit up straighter and pay special attention. Unconsciously, people could be feeling this intense energy and try to manipulate people or the situations. They may try to strong arm people in the situations. They could be mad grabs for power. Mercury squares Mars as well. So Mercury and Pisces squaring Mars. Consciously, you'll find a solution through debate. You'll find a solution through integrating these new details for your better action plan. You'll be able to figure out solutions and ideas from new inspiration or from what you've been learning the past like couple of months. You'll be able to do it. Now, unconsciously, this is like petty fighting. So unconsciously, Mercury square Mars, that's like petty fighting. It's gossip, it's rumors, it's like, but it's like, it's very meaningless. Like, it's not anything that's going to stick. It's just going to be something that can potentially harm themselves. Like, that's really bad karma. That's not healthy for you, to be spreading that stuff. So, you know, there's that. And then Venus enters into Taurus. So now we're back to the Audrey Hepburn femininity, who is a Taurus. I looked it up. She is a Taurus. And now we're back to a very sweet, quaint, sort of, you know, feminine sort of, you know, that aesthetic is what we're back to. And that's really nice. Like, it's going to be, there's going to be some great stuff, especially as Venus marches towards her conjoinment with Uranus and Taurus at the end of the month. We're going to leave March very differently than when we came into the month. And this is a big week that everything kind of changes, because this is the week where you're going to either have belief and courage in your convictions, and you're going to be able to take the new things that you've been learning and better inform your new decisions, your next decisions, and make some great changes for yourself and make some great pivots in your life, like very meaningfully with the 7-month Mars retrograde. Or, I don't even want to talk about the or, let's just say that that's going to happen, because I want the best for every single one of you. Okay. But for other people in your life, if they're really resisting, if they're cognitive dissonance, it's just let them have their breakdown in a way that's not hurting you or affecting you. Give them the privacy and the space. And if they want you to be there during it and you don't want to be there, don't feel like you have to stay and be a witness to someone and get secondary post-traumatic stress. Okay. This is when people are like, can you hold space for me? I need to talk about my relationship. Yes, I can. No, I can't right now. All right. It's like that kind of thing. So definitely, you know, let people fall to pieces, or let yourself fall to pieces if that needs to happen, but do not make anyone else responsible for your feelings, and do not guilt anyone that cannot hold the space to be there while you go through something or something. Okay. Friday the 17th, I'm calling Intel Deep Dive. We have the 𝚃𝚑𝚎𝚎, the Sun Mercury 𝚃𝚑𝚎𝚎 happening in Pisces. We also have the moon entering into Aquarius, and then Venus sextiling Saturn, but it's really about the 𝚃𝚑𝚎𝚎. This is all about the 𝚃𝚑𝚎𝚎 moment. So Mercury's been not strong. It's just been approaching the sun, burning up. Only at the exact moment of the conjunction of Mercury and the sun is when, I'm thinking of that title, For a Moment We Are Briefly Gorgeous, or something like that. It's like this one moment, it's like the title of some book. This one moment with Mercury and the sun is like that moment. Like, for this one moment in the sky, everything is like illuminated, everything is clear, everything, there's a big conversation, there's a big personal revelation that you're having, there's some kind of, you know, big reveal of something, or like I said, some kind of big conversation you're having, but it's like, it's a big moment. So this could even be if you've been over focused in some other area of life, you've been like really competitive at work, and you're like work. This could be that you come home and a routine checkup, that your spouse took your child to their routine checkup. There's something that this child needs something more from you, or you find out that something has been happening under the surface for a long time and it's just now come out from this routine checkup, or even like a note from the teacher, or just like something. Those are easy examples because it involves children, but it could be anything in that area of life. It's your spouse that has some big revelation. It is your child. It is your, it is you that has something big to announce or to converse with. It's going to be something like that. It's a moment of clarity, and it could be more externalized, where it's less. You could have your own revelation, certainly, but this one is more about sharing the fullness of the information with the world, with one person, with a group of people, with your nearest and dearest. It depends on what area of life this is happening in. So, but there should be something sparkly. Also on Friday, we have the moon entering Aquarius. Consciously, if you're using it consciously, you can use it to help you think outside the box. Unconsciously, it's a little judgy. It could be sort of judgy, could be sort of impersonal, doesn't really want to feel anything, wants to kind of push it down, or wants to think before they feel or intellectualize their emotions. So, just sort of keep it in balance with whatever's going on. That's also why I'm calling this day the Intel Deep Dive, because like whatever, that's such a watery, emotional Mercury cazimi, that to have the moon in an air sign, it's like there's so much that comes out that you want to think about it, and you want to organize it, and you want to put it all where it belongs, but just don't forget to also feel as you're doing it. But something about the circumstances might be more either professional, or they may be more about progressing something forward. And then the content, so there's this context, and then there's the content. They could both be sort of different. Like the context could be that it's something very professional, but the content could be, maybe it's a professional endeavor about spiritual things. The Mercury Sun cazimi is very spiritual or something. So it could be something like that. Now, the sextile between Venus and Saturn, it's very comfortable. I love this energy. It's something that you can just relax. You can just chill out for a second, just for one little itty bitty second. I also like the Venus Saturn connecting for longevity. So there's something about this that could be very, very good for contributing to a strong foundation or a strong future. So what you build could last a long time. Saturday, I am calling laying it out. We have the moon in Aquarius squaring over to Uranus and Taurus, sextiling over to Jupiter in Aries, and then Mercury enters Aries. So with the moon squaring Uranus, circumstances are showing you the clogs in your system. It's showing you you'll see, like, just necessity is the mother of invention. See what's not working well, and then get to work innovating that. Don't just pick some random thing that's working totally fine and start to tinker with it. So that's the energy that we have there. The sextile to Jupiter is helping you think independently and doing like your own thing. There's something that the more entrepreneurial you are, or the more independent you are, the more you create your own luck. It's very much, I didn't even talk about Chiron. So there's also the Chiron Jupiter conjunction. It's like the more you help yourself, people respect that more. You know what I'm saying? It's like you really do want to show and be initiative and do your own thing, go your own, you know what I'm saying? And then, the right people will recognize, oh my God, like this, who's gonna stop them? You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's like, well, I'm doing my decentralized club of individualists all over the world, who's gonna stop me? You know what I'm saying? It's like very, like, just do, you know what I'm saying? It could be a very, very strong moment, and it could help you innovate some great things too. Now, when Mercury moves into Aries, it's the same thing. So Mercury just had this big aha moment in Pisces, lickety split moves on into Aries, and a lot of things need to get organized. A lot of things need to get sorted, and there are rewards that are coming to those who really take that initiation, or take the initiative and go forth to do something a little bit more independent, or strike some kind of it's like beating to your own drum, that expression. So Mercury moving into Aries is giving you more, I would say, more direction. You're going to have very strong direction with Mercury in Aries. Mercury just gone through this whole like Alice in Wonderland experience, and now you're back in Kansas. I know I mixed them up, but that's okay. So Mercury in Aries over the next few weeks is going to be very cogent and very alert, very intellectual, very smart, very clever. And so, but also a little bit speaking before you think, which is okay, especially if you're like brainstorming or something. But it's going to meet up with Chiron, going to meet up with Jupiter. So it's almost like something, this big reveal happens, and then you get to work organizing it, you get to work talking about it, you get to work putting it kind of where it belongs. And that really is the mood of the week as early as Tuesday with the quarter moon, because we've got the fullness of the Virgo full moon. So you've seen a lot of new details over the last couple of weeks. You've seen a lot. And now you're sorting it and putting everything like kind of where it belongs. As long as you don't let your fears or your ego get in the way of changing your perception, trust yourself to change your perception the way that it needed to change so that you can make the right different choices to move yourself forward. And that will be innovative. It will be different. It will be different than what you expected of yourself and of your life in August. It's going to be different now. And that's the point. So if anyone's still trying to push forward something from August, that's been done for a long time, for months, for a while now. Okay. So, laying it all out Saturday. Okay, so here we are in Sunday of this week, March the 19th. I'm calling it seriously. Seriously, because we have basically just the moon entering Pisces, and then the moon will conjunct Saturn in Pisces. So moon in Pisces, the energy could dip a little bit. You could feel tired or groggy, but the conjunction with Saturn, really responsible. It's responsible, but it's like an intuitive seriousness. It doesn't have to be negative. It can be, you know, just feeling weighted, like in a suit, like a weighted blanket. So a weighted blanket can be very enjoyable, and then sometimes you feel like you're rebelling against it and you don't want it. Okay, but that's going to be down to perception this week. So I like this energy because, especially with the previous Venus sextile Saturn on Friday, I feel like there could be like some huge task, but that you are taking the first step on that path. And as long as you have a good attitude about it and you think, okay, it's going to be one step at a time, one little bit at a time, and then eventually it's done. Eventually you're there. Eventually it is completed. If you can have that perspective, I think you'll be fine. But otherwise, I can see this being where it like overwhelms people and they just run away, or they'll just want to escape. But you can't look at it that way. You really do have to figure out a way for yourself to live in the moment of your own life and feel peaceful and happy in the moment. Whenever you're stressing about the future, stressing about the past, idealizing the future, idealizing the past, whatever it is, future or past, you're saying that those things are so much more important than your life, because all your life is in the moment. Okay, the moment you have right now. So if you're using that moment to be stressed out about a time thing like future and past, then you're like time traveling, but for the negative, and you're taking that moment away from yourself. You're saying, this is so much more important than the life I'm living. I'm leaving the life I'm living in order to be in a bad moment in the past, or and to be in a bad moment that I'm projecting into the future that hasn't even happened yet. See how silly it sounds when you say it out loud like that. So again, you guys, this is the week that everything changes, and it really comes down to your personal perspective in terms of, are they good changes or are they bad changes? That's the thing. And you're going to ask me, okay, it's changing this week. Is that good or bad? That's what we all ask. We all want to ask the oracle, like, am I going to be happy or not? Do I get what I want or don't I? I understand. But just This is what I said, It's going to be your, but it's how you, this is the end of something that we've all been working on since August. It's a long time, okay? So, yeah, let's do a quickie little tarot reading, just really quick. We're gonna do a simple cover and cross because it's Sunday, but I really stacked it up today. We did an hour-long crypto session, absolutely wildly fun, but it is on a Sunday, so we might be changing schedules again. I don't know, to accommodate people. And a bunch of readings as well. Crypto sesh was long because we had so much to talk about. We talked about SVB, we talked about Pluto and Capricorn, like all the things, crypto, financial literacy, all the things. Let's see about the week for you guys. Ace of Cups and the Two of Pentacles. That to me looks like a big flip, but like an emotional, like sea change kind of a moment. Oh, I love it. I absolutely love this. Okay, so there is a big shift happening. There's a big one. This is a beautiful leap of faith, and it is of faith. This is a leap that has faith into it. This is like the changeover, the step over into a new reality for yourself. You're making some strong decisions this week. Trust yourself. I feel like you would know if you were trying to push something that's just been blowing up in your face time after time since August. Like that's universe telling you, blowing up in your face there, blowing up in your face there, blowing up in your face there since August. You should have stopped that January, or at least by January. But, you know, we don't judge. We'd rather understand than judge. Everyone's on their own timeline of how long it takes us to learn stuff, okay? Bottom of the deck, we have the Nine of Pentacles, the Ace of Wands, ooh, and the Nine of Cups, a wish coming true. Very happy, happy news. Maybe a new job, a new project, a new creative idea, new inspiration, pregnancies, what else? Entrepreneurial ventures, clients, new clients, that kind of thing. Let's see what's going on. Tell me about this Ace of Cups and Two of Pentacles. I want to catch some of the Oscars. That's why they're shorter reads today. It's the Queen of Cups. Okay. That's really emotional. That's like really emotional. But because it's a queen, I very much trust that like the changes that are happening, like the Two of Pentacles could usually be like financially trying to make something work and having a little bit of like it's tight. You know what I'm saying? But with the Queen of Cups, I don't think it's like that tight. I don't think it's like, you know, if you're moving, you may wonder like, oh my God, do I have enough money to move? You might in the excitement feel like, oh my God, it's gonna be so expensive. But when you actually like break it down, it maybe isn't that bad. Or that you can cover this, maybe it's out of country move or something like that, I don't know. Okay, let me just take a close look at this full energy. Anything new about this? Ooh, thank you. Nine of Wands, and then Nine of Cups, a double Nine of Cups, that's so cute. So this is just, honestly, I love this. I love this so much. This is basically like protecting your investment, protecting your, you know what I'm saying? Like just keep it secret, keep it safe. You know, very Gandalf the Wise. And something about this is like, you might have already done this before, or you might have already, okay, so maybe it's like, this moment would show up and you're like, okay, I'm gonna just, Brendan Gleeson, he was like a 40-year-old English teacher, I think, and then he just like, I'm gonna be an actor. You know, that's like, that would be this, like, okay, I've made a lot of risks in my life and I just lived it my own way, like the Frank Sinatra song, I'm gonna be an actor. Then maybe he gets roles, and then maybe there's like, maybe he always, now we're getting into like fallacy here because I don't know his entire career, but maybe he gets into roles that are like the good guy. He's always like the good guy. Okay, cool. Maybe now he gets an offer to play the villain. That would be him taking like a big leap. oh my God, now I'm gonna play the villain. Okay, he plays the villain and it goes really well. Okay, now maybe there's an opportunity that comes up for him to direct, and now he feels even more pressure. Can't blame the director if the film doesn't go good. I'm just kidding, you know. But like, it's like that. It's like something where you might have, you know, or I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna move to this town. I'm gonna move to this city and just see how it goes. And okay, you get there, you establish yourself, and then there's another. But you have to leap into it. You have to rise to the challenge of it. But it looks like you've already done this before. So just rely on that kind of gumption that you have within you and trust yourself to do it, because it looks like you already figured this out, like logistically, and there might be someone helping you with that or someone that's making you feel better about it. It looks good. Okay. Let's take a look at, I just think Billy Crystal should always host the Oscars. I mean, maybe it should just be one of those things where it's like, it's just Billy Crystal every year that we can kind of count on. Do they have that? Is that like a, no, probably not. Okay. White turkey, the power to heal the earth is within you. That's interesting. The power to heal the earth is within you. This feels like someone who's getting in, opening their mind to things that they didn't open their mind to before. I feel like this is very open-mindedness for me right now. White turkey, the power to heal the earth is within you. Bottom of the deck is the hawk. Pay attention, a powerful message is being communicated to you now. That could be this video, but it doesn't have to be. It could also be like a literal sign that you see on your way to work. It could be a dream that you have tomorrow night. It could be, you know, any other way a message gets communicated to you. But if your intuition is wondering, is that the message? It probably is. It probably is. What the Saturn in Pisces has been doing for me, you guys, is slowing down so much that's allowing me. So usually it's really fast up here. It's like, and I have very compulsive energy. You guys know I have a lisp. I have to slow down. You know, but what this Saturn in Pisces has done for me is like those moments where I just like go like that. It's almost like I'm going through like a mental factory reset, because I've noticed it with my writing. Like before, usually, this is how it usually is for me. I'm just like typing and writing just to like get it down, and I feel like I'm always behind what's coming through. So I'm just like, you know, like in a, just a, you know. But now what it feels like is I can really sit with it and be very thorough, and like I can keep up with it. I can keep up with as it's coming out. And I feel like I don't need to go back and do as much polishing and rewriting because of how it's coming out. It's just coming out in a much more like put together. It's coming out more put together than before. Like before it would be like a fire hose of like creativity. So I was just trying to like get it down on paper. But then the historical epic, that first draft I did in 6 weeks, and it was 174 pages. This the second run through, I got it down to 151 pages, and then I finally got it down to 121 pages. There was this whole thing in the middle of the script where it was like a, anyway, but so I'm really enjoying it. Long story short, it's making me slow down my speech too, which is fun, I guess. But anyway, let me know how you guys are feeling in this week ahead. Feel free to let me know in the comments below. Check in. Let's do welfare checks. This is a crazy week. Also be very careful with accidents, visibility, fog, rain. But here's the thing, like we astrologers, we can say Mars square Neptune, you know, don't reach for anything in the backseat when you're driving, even if it's a sunny, bright day out. We can say things like that, but it'll be like if you are really destined for something, you can't stop it. You cannot stop it. Like if you delay a hiking trip because you see this Mars or you delay a rock climbing trip because that's where you're using your little phalanges, your fingers, because you see this Mars square Neptune. Okay, you stayed home, but you trip leaving the back door and you sprain your ankle. And you were destined to sprain your ankle that day, whether you went hiking or not. I'm getting into a whole thing about like fate versus free will and destiny and fate and all that, so I'm gonna leave us hanging there. We'll come back to that maybe, I don't know. You guys take care. If you would like to learn remote viewing or any of the witchy little things that I do here, telekinesis, astral travel, lucid dreaming, or if you would simply like additional astrological and tarot readings just like this one for your sun, moon, and rising signs on a weekly and monthly basis, bookmark patreon.com/TheFirstArteagan. And when you are ready to join the club, we will be happy to welcome you. Until next time, my loves, many beautiful blessings upon all of your beautiful heads, darlings.